Howdy, my name is Adora,
And I'm Nick.
and we will be walking you through our end-to-end Capstone order tracking system to demo the features associated with the team dashboard, TA and professor dashboard, and finally, the staff portal. I will play the role of student and staff, and Nick will be the professor and TA. Starting off with the landing page, I will log in using my CAS credentials. And then I will be routed to the appropriate dashboard based on my user type. So now that I have logged in, I am prompted to input the team's designated primary shipping contact info, which would be me. So I will go ahead and input that information. As you can see, that information has now been updated. Now I will fill out the order form with one part, and that part is going to be a Raspberry Pi from Mouser. So I will enter all of these fields, and these are the exact same fields that are represented in the spreadsheet during the manual process when students are requesting parts. I will then go ahead and enter the estimated shipping cost, add the part to order, and then I will submit the order for approval. So now that the order has been submitted for approval, I can check it out in the order history table. Order history also has the timestamp and the status. So checking out the order, we can see that it shows us exactly what I put in there, including the estimated shipping. I can also edit the order. So let's say, the shipping cost really isn't $4, it's actually $5. I can go ahead and edit that. And I can also delete the order as well. So let's go ahead and edit the shipping, submit the edit. The edit has been submitted for approval. And now checking it out again, we can see the estimated total shipping cost is now $5. A budget adjustment here. So these are the reasons why you would request a budget adjustment. For example, to account for an order placed outside of the system because of shipping cost discrepancies or any case that would require an increase or decrease in budget. So let's just assume that I have already placed an order outside of the system. So I'll go ahead and say that my current budget is $500 and I placed an order outside of the system worth $50. So I'm requesting an adjustment of $50. And I'll say placed order outside of system. And then this is going to be routed to the professor for approval. Okay.
Once an order has been placed for approval or edited once again and placed for approval, it's routed over to their TA and professor. So right now, I'm on the TA dashboard. The TA and the professor dashboard, as you remember from last year, looks very similar to each other, with a few small differences this year. So as you can see on this teams list, there are only two teams that are assigned to this TA. The TA's dashboard now only shows the teams for which they are assigned. This way they don't have as much of a cluttered dashboard. The professors, as you'll see, still have all of the teams assigned to their dashboard, and they can view all teams and make adjustments there. TAs can bypass the approval process for making budget adjustments using this new column in their dashboard called budget. So we'll do that now. So let's say a team ordered a PCB from the PCB shop in the FEDC. TAs can go in and submit the change for them. So as you can see, the team budget remains the same and their funds remaining is updated. The TA is also notified that this team, the final demo team, has orders that are awaiting approval. As you can see, there are 2 orders here. So let's inspect the latest one. As you can see, this is a Raspberry Pi here with the estimated shipping cost. And they also have a random order that doesn't seem to make any sense. So I am going to deny order 15, but I am going to approve order 16. Now the TAs are notified that there are no open orders for this team. From the team perspective, TAs can also access their dashboard. So the dashboard is actually accessible by all user types, students, TAs, and professors. So if for whatever reason, a TA feels the need to go to the team's dashboard and perhaps submit a part request for them, or if anything happens, they can always go and check on the team's dashboard as well. Professor dashboard, as you can see, does look very similar to the TAs. They can perform similar budget adjustments as the TA did. But as you can also see here, there are more teams that are on the TA dashboard. So like I said previously, professors can see all of the teams that are in the system, whether it's teams that they may or may not be responsible for. This kind of gives the professors a little bit more leeway than the TAs, as once again, the TAs can only see teams that they are responsible for. Professors also have the ability to approve budget adjustment requests from students. So not only, so students can't bypass the approval process like TAs and professors can. If a student submits a budget adjustment request, it needs to be approved by a professor. They might do this if they order a part outside the system and they don't want to wait on their TA to submit the budget adjustment for them, or if it turns out that one of their parts is more expensive than they originally thought, or the shipping costs were different. There are a variety of different cases that provide for the students for wanting to submit a request. So professors can access this page using the nav bar, and they open up this very simple page here that shows the open budget adjustment request. So specifically for this team here, they actually requested that their budget get adjusted down, their remaining funds get adjusted down to $450 because they ordered a part outside of this system. They had already talked to me, the professor, previously, and so I'm going to go ahead and approve this request. Okay. Professors can also use the system loader to load rosters of students onto the system. So we're going to check that out now. So using the nav bar, once again, they can navigate to the roster upload route. It gives an example of what the CSV file needs to be structured as. It needs to have the team name, the team number, the student emails, as well as their assigned TA. So I have an example that I am going to pick from. Oops. Okay. You can see here the name of the file that I'd like to upload, and I'm going to upload it. And once I do so, I'm prompted that the roster was successfully uploaded. If I'd like to make sure that the team was added, I can go here and see indeed that team was added. Unfortunately, it is somewhat of a duplicate as a team that was already in the system, but you can see here that the team was added with the proper TA.
Switching gears to the staff portal, once parts are approved, they will be routed to the staff portal. So now I will go ahead and click to view this team. So as you can see, this is the order that has been submitted, the timestamp, and then the approver. Right now it says staff because I'm currently a staff in the back end, but in the future it would actually say, TA Ayatwebu. So just to check out this order now, we can see the signature of who approved the part, the shipping information, the estimated shipping costs, and also the shipping info of the team. Now I'm looking at this part. I have ordered the part, so I'm going to mark this part as ordered. So now it states that it's been ordered by staff. And as you can see here, it's been ordered. And to verify that the part has actually been ordered, we can also check on the ordered parts list. As you can see, the part has now been added to the ordered parts list. So we know that the part has officially been ordered. Navigating back to the staff portal homepage, we can see that team no longer appears here because there are no more approved parts or orders associated with any teams. Switching back over to the team dashboard, we see that the budget has been updated. We also see that the status has been updated to ordered. And we can also click on the order ID and we can see, who approved the part, who ordered the part, and also mark the order as received once I have picked it up from the parts receiving office. So now we see the status update right here that it's been received by me. Then going back to the dashboard, we also see here that the status has been updated. Alerts at each step of the process. So at every step, you will basically receive an email. So for example, once the parts have been submitted, the TA will receive a notification that there's an order from Team 9 awaiting approval. Another one that a student would receive once the TA had approved their order. And then when the budget adjustment was processed, the students would receive that notification, and also a notification once the staff has ordered their parts.
This semester, we managed to pilot our application using an Aggie Cloud VM server. So now I'm going to take you to the production server and show you where the code is stored. So to access the server, we run a simple command. It's just SSHing in. The VM is protected by NetID access. So there are only a few users right now that have access, me, Adora, and Professor Kalifatis. And we are adding Pranav to the permissions so that he can have access in the future. So let me log in. And now I'm in the system. So when you first log into the system, it actually just takes you to a home directory that's my personal one. But to get to the server, we actually have to back out quite a bit and go to one of the root directories. So our server is actually stored in the variable, the var folder. So let me navigate there. It's stored in the www.html. And as you can see, our project is stored here. So there are a couple things in this folder that help us manage the production. So as you can see, I have 3 backup files for each one of our versions. So as of right now, the application is on version 1.3, and the database is backed up every time I do a drop to production. So the backup 1.bac file was for the first production drop, 1._2 was for 1.2, and 1.3 is right here. You'll also see that we have a requirements.txt file. This helps us manage the Python virtual environment. Here is where all of our packages are stored. As you can see, there's a list right here. The requirements.txt allow us to easily load these packages into our virtual environment, which is here. So in order to make any changes to the system or to migrate changes to the database, I have to source and begin the virtual environment. As you can see, the virtual environment is now activated, and I can enter the project folder and make my changes there. Before I do that, a couple things of note is that you'll see this config file here. So let me enter config. Inside the config is a config.json file. So this is just a simple file that we use to help manage our different environments. So during development, we had 2 main environments, a production environment and a development environment. And within our project code, there is a place where the Python system actually looks for this JSON file. And if it exists, it will, as you can see here, the production is true. So if it exists and the production is true and there's a secret key there, then it will know that it needs to load the settings associated with the production environment. If for whatever reason the file does not exist, then it automatically loads the development settings. So this helped me and Adora manage development on 2 different operating systems, as instead of having to make sure that we both have a config file in our local environment and that the directories match up the various directory structural differences between Mac OS and Windows 10. We simply just don't include the config file on our local machines, and the system knows that we are in the development environment. So I'm going to enter the project directory. And as you can see, there's various things that are similar to our local environment. There is a SQLite 3 file that we can use in case we need to do any testing. We could, for whatever reason, the database isn't working, or there's something that is very sensitive that we needed to test. There is a temporary DB that we could switch to that allows us to manage some of that more careful testing. This isn't a permanent addition. This will actually most likely be removed. This was just there so I could make changes or monitor changes and make sure that they worked properly. But everything else is similar to what you would see in our GitHub code base. The requirements.txt is reproduced here. This is because it is stored in our GitHub environment. It's kind of redundant, but it just helps us track what's going on with our requirements. We have the README, as well as our local applications order tracker, which is the administrative application, tracker, which is the meat and potatoes of our application, users, which manages the users of our application, and then the deprecated Mauser order application. The production server is running on an Apache-based server. It is managed by IT, and so any changes that are made beyond the scope of this folder actually has to be routed through IT. And even looking at the log files are pseudo protected, and you have to be given access by IT in order to see them. So we are strictly responsible for the code that goes into this folder, and any sort of configuration to or setting change to the Apache server must be done by an engineering IT worker. So I just wanted to thank you guys for coming to our demo. We really worked our butts off this semester to deploy the application to a production environment and to implement as many features as we could. And I really wanted to take a moment to thank Professor Kalifatis, Professor Nauka, and Professor Lusher for giving us guidance over the course of the last 2 semesters. I wanted to give a thanks to our TAs, Swarnaba and Anushka. Swarnaba last semester, Anushka this semester, for giving us guidance as well. And if you guys have any questions, we look forward to taking those during our Q&A session up and coming. Thank you, and we are signing off.